What's going on, everyone? How's everyone's weekend? Good, good. Nice. Did you get all the cat stuff sorted out, Lang? Good stuff. Okay, let's start this thing up. We'll make this thing a quickie. What we'll do first is we'll talk about some of the earnings plays going into this week. We did sort of kick off earnings last week for some of the bigger names, and we do have some bigger names coming into this week here, which is good. It should get the market moving. Not that the market hasn't been moving already. A lot of people are complaining about a range, but we're in like a $200 range right now, which is really nice to trade actually when we sit back and think about it. Let's have a look at earnings whisper here. So I looked at Monday, and Monday's pretty dead really for earnings plays. I don't like any of these companies that are posting earnings. It really starts picking up Tuesday all the way till Thursday. You sort of got AMD, PayPal, Google, Starbucks, some nice names here on Tuesday. Also UPS before the open, which is nice. So that'll give us a few things to look at, or a few stocks to look at if you're still on the stock trading thing, which in my opinion is fine during earnings. I likely won't be touching anything here. I'll be probably just hyper focusing the market, but there are some nice plays here. Also Facebook, Spotify, and then we go into Thursday and we've got like Amazon, Ford, Snap, even Pinterest is decent. It can get moving on earnings. So there are some plays to be watching. If you guys are watching earnings plays, I just recommend that when you're watching the earnings plays, you go in and you really narrow down your daily charts and you look at the best charts. Maybe we can pop this up quickly and we'll check out some of the dailies here quick going to earnings. So what do we have here? AMD. So AMD's Tuesday after the close. AMD is sitting a demand zone on the daily, so that's nice. We could start getting, maybe a pop to the upside here depending on what we do Monday. If Monday we come into supply here and then we sort of gap up into these areas, that could be decent. On the flip side, AMD could gap down and we could be trading in a really nice range or a really nice clean area down below. That'd probably be ideal, but I think that would take some market issues to do that for AMD, but that's, it's always on the table that something like this could happen. UPS, not a huge favorite. Not a huge favorite, really. We're in a range, and we're in a huge range at that. PayPal. PayPal does look like it's finding some buyers here. Depending on what it does on earnings, you might be able to get a play. But even if we do gap up on Facebook, we're just gapping up into this big sell area, right? Like essentially, this is going to be supply here. And if PayPal does gap down, it could be an SSR type play that we could take to the long side depending on where it gaps. Like it could gap down and possibly fill this gap here in the 130s. That would be interesting for value buys on PayPal. Google is typically expensive, and if we're trading shares, there's better stuff to trade than a $2,600 stock. Facebook, not super interesting. Again, I really like the gap down on these earnings and then that SSR sort of dip by value play. Spot just getting torched too. What I do like about Spotify here is we do have this area. Let me get this off. Sort of mark this area here on Spot. If you guys are watching stocks, this area here, I'd say 159, 160 is probably in play. And it would be in play for an earnings gap down on Thursday. It is Thursday. No, it's on Wednesday. So if we sort of dead cat bounce here Monday, Tuesday, and then earnings gaps down into this area, that could be a buy off this area. It would turn into a key level support hold. It would turn into a trap zone below this area. And if we gap down from here, SSR would be on the stock, which would be interesting. Now that we talk about this, I'm interested to go to FinViz. Any stocks that I'm looking for a potential SSR play on, I like to go in and look at the short float. It's only 3.27%, but any short floats that are above like 20%, those plays are more likely to work, those SSR plays, because the squeeze is already on. And what was next here? Spotify. I think then we go into Friday. We start looking at Amazon, Ford, Snap. So Amazon, another expensive stock. I don't expect anyone to really touch this. There are better plays out there. You can play Amazon, especially options. Even the options are expensive, but you can really get torched on this thing. I recommend just staying away from it and playing some of the other hot stocks here. Ford went on a big run, which was, you know, a lot of people capitalized on this run. I know Carlos got a good piece of this, which was nice, and some other people in the group. I think Russell was playing some options during this time, which is cool. I do like sort of this base here on Ford. Now, what I would want to see on this base on Ford, to be honest with you, I would actually want to see this base break. And if this base breaks, I don't know how deep it can break, but I do like this area right here, somewhere in the 1650s. So if this base can break and Ford is actually strong, you probably see something like this. This would be like a value buy area off a key level. So that could be interesting to watch. If Ford continues to truck to the upside, I just don't think there's a long play here for me, because by the time earnings comes, which is Thursday, and if Ford's strong, that's like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, gap up. Is there really a long here? Not really, when 2 days ago you could have bought it for $5 cheaper. It shies me away from it, that's for sure. We'll have a quick look at Snap. Snap is just also getting absolutely beat up. I probably don't see a play on this one. Like, where, you know, Snap has, geez, from 83 bucks, we're down in the 30s now, in the 20s. It's down like, I don't know, what is that, 60% or something like that? I really don't have much interest. Snap on earnings tends to be a really crowded stock. A lot of people try and trade it. It's cheap, and the price action isn't fantastic on it. If the daily chart was cleaner, it would have definitely been more interesting. But that's what we have for earnings there. Now what we'll do is we'll look at the overall market here and what we've been looking at for the past week or so that we've been trading. Now, this is the market within a range, right? Of course, this is a range. We're holding some thick demand zones here that we had drawn in from the lows of this range, which is nice. We did break some key pivot lows, but buyers reclaimed right away. The interesting thing about this range is it's large. It's a large playable range. We had a lot of demand in this area that got broken, which was fine. It got met with new supply that held intraday when we were trying to play it a few times before supply, of course, broke through and sellers were no longer there. But it did definitely give us some high quality plays on ES throughout this range. Now, if we can really master this market, trading within this range, which, like I said, is relatively large, when the market does start trending in a direction, whether it's up or down, because truthfully, I don't care which way it goes. Just direction is more fun than trading the chop. Some people will disagree. I know there are some people in here that like trading ranges, which is great. They're relatively easy as soon as you can identify the range. But let's be grateful and thankful that the market is giving us a range within the range. There's been times in the market where we've sort of petered sideways for, you know, a week or two at a time, and the range is nothing. And the trades are god-awful. The price action's terrible. So we'll be super thankful for this range, and I'll take these ranges all day. On the daily chart here, I don't see any really fresh demand that I want to mark within this range, but I'm sure as we drop down to the smaller time frames, we'll find something to fill up this area. My biggest thing about the market is when we start dropping down the time frames, I have an area that I really want to see the market in this week, and I think it's going to give us some potential, well, some short-term direction, but some potential long-term direction as well. Me personally, I want more downside on the market because it's healthy. It gives us way more upside when it finally gives us upside, but I don't know that we're going to get that. But enough of the forecasting. Of course, we're day traders, and we just trade what we see when we see it. We make that plan in the morning, and we just run with it. So we'll go down to the 4-hour chart. I don't see any amazing demand here on the 4-hour. We could argue to mark this candle, but I already have this 4-hour zone here, which held once. I want to find something a little bit higher just so we're not overlapping zones in here. So I have nothing new on the 4-hour. Go down to the 3-hour. I do like this 3-hour rally right here. So we rally off that 4 and 2-hour zone. We base out on the 3 and we rally to the upside. My issue is here. is if I mark the high of this candle and the low of this candle, that's a really, really thick demand zone. So I'll keep a mental note that it's there, but I'll cycle through the smaller time frames to see if we can find something a little more aggressive, a little smaller in size, so we can really narrow down the trading ranges. If we have 4375, let's say, we have like this is a $50 range, right? On a normal day, that's like what ES will move outside of this crazy wildness here. So we have a full day's range there, which is less than ideal. Let's go down to the 2 hour. This is a nice candle here on the 2 hour, but the issue with this, and I've seen some people mark these, and I don't love them because this is the high and low of that demand zone. We can consider this a trap below demand and then a push to the upside, but I really, really want to find something on the low end of this, so I'll stay away from that 2 hour zone right now as well. We'll go into the 1 hour. Got a big candle here, tough zone to mark. This is not bad, actually. I threw the 90-minute on here because I found that the 90-minute is giving me some nice zones that, otherwise the 1 hour and 2 hour weren't giving me. What is this? This is 65 buy. This is still a $40 range. Go down to the 40-minute. I don't see anything that I love either. Go down to the 30-minute. I don't see anything I love either. And we'll go down to the 15-minute. So I'm going to take this zone on the 15-minute right here just because, like I said, I want these zones to be as small as possible. I don't want this big giant zone that that's impossible to play, because you're going to feel the frustration during the day when price gets in there and you take 6 trades on it and the zone's so huge that you can't make it work, and you're just really hurting yourself by doing it. So let's say 15-minute. I don't mind this 15-minute zone because it is from the prior day, and I'll take a 15-minute zone up to 2 days prior to the current trading day. We're trading on Wednesday. I'll take a 15-minute zone on the Monday or Tuesday, but not on the Friday. The smaller time frames typically require, or typically there's less buyers or sellers at that area, really enforcing that price, and they don't hold up for days, months, weeks. They're typically there for a shorter amount of time, so that's why I like to only play them, maybe 2 days out tops. So I do like this 15-minute zone. I like this 45-minute. I think you could have marked a 30-minute supply area up here also. I think some people had a 30-minute supply maybe on TOS. But anyways, I'm going to keep this 45-minute zone in here, which is, well, it's the same as the 30-minute zone actually. So 45 or 30-minute zone up here. And what I would really like to see, if I'm being honest, there's still the full overnight session. So in a perfect world, if we are going to be long here, or the market is going to be long, short or long term, we want through here. So you notice the front of this zone here, the 45-minute or the 30-minute, whatever you have marked, we've never been able to get out of the zone and hold. We've never been able to get out of the zone and hold. Now, what's happening here is buyers are putting pressure on the zone once again. And if these buyers can start stepping up in this area and push price through the zone and start holding value over the zone, then we have a trade on our hands. Because once we get over this area and into this clean sort of area here, this is when we're going to find some good trades to the long side. There is one roadblock when we get into here though. And if we look at the 2 hour chart on ES, there's actually a really nice flat bottom breakdown on the 2 hour chart, which I think is going to give some interest at this key level I have marked here. So this is a good example for those of you who have not watched the course yet, or maybe you have, and if you have, you'll definitely recognize this. So you guys probably recognize this big flat bottom breakdown here. We have the initial pivot low. We have the second test of the low. Do we ever short this? No, right? 2 tests are for suckers. Okay, so the second test is for suckers. All bad retail got trapped there. And then, bad longs got trapped to the upside. It was a big mess. And then the short finally worked on the third test, where we would have shorted had we seen this and had we were swinging something like this. So this is an area that I expect there to be some interest in. Now, the way this area should act is when price gets here, it should act and react the same way as these supply zones. But if buyers rally this price here really quick, this is a huge run buyers made. We've essentially engulfed the whole range from the past trading week in a very short amount of time. if we think about it, this is Friday. So all this is Friday's price action. If tomorrow we start rallying right into this key level, this 2-hour key level area, I'm honestly leaning more to the short side in this area, because buyers are so exhausted by that point. Sellers have had time to sort of catch their traction and find what their next play is. So it really depends on how fast we get there. If we sort of pop into supply and we start holding value inside supply for maybe Monday, Tuesday, then this zone becomes more interesting for a potential long, because now buyers have built strength and power through consolidation to push price through this key level. Now, a lot of things can happen here, right? We can also fail off this supply. If we fail off this supply, maybe short term, we're short bias. But buyers have been stepping up throughout this whole consolidation area, that if we do end up pulling back here off supply, we can still make a higher low here. We can still make a higher low here, put a lot of pressure on the supply area before we bust through, consolidate, and then run for this 4, 5, 20, 25. Okay. Let me get rid of some of these drawings here. So pretty much going into tomorrow, I mean, it's tough to say right now because we still have the whole overnight session, but if we're weak off this supply and the overnight session gives us the pullback that we're looking for, maybe into this area, I don't expect it to go down this far, but if it does, that's great. If it gives us the pullback into this 15-minute zone, we can start looking for buyers to step up, and it'll give us a great play to the long side back to 45-minute supply. And if it does that, we've really been knocking on this door multiple times, and the more times price bangs on someone's door or a price area, a price level, the weaker that door or that price area gets. Now, the way we have to look at this is, if this is our supply, this 45-minute, and sellers are looking to sell every pop into this area, let's say there was 100,000 contracts here at this area, and when price came and tested here, 20,000 of the contracts got filled. So when we came here, there's 80,000 left. 30,000 got filled here. So when we came over here, there was 50,000 left. 20,000 got filled. Now there's only 30,000 left here. If 20,000 contracts get filled, then we pull back. The next time we come to say hello, maybe there's only 10,000 contracts left. That's what causes that level to let go. There's no more selling there, and buyers eventually win the battle. Demand outweighs supply, and we push to the upside. So as for overall let me get rid of this. As for the overall market context, big picture, this is sort of our big picture idea. Don't be scared about the consolidation periods. Don't be scared about the range. If the range is giving you good plays, I mean, it's a good range then, right? It's simply a good range. And we have had some good plays throughout the week, which is really, really nice. We had this play on Friday. This was really nice. Right down into demand, held, higher lows, double bottom. We had a really nice push here, and then we had a beautiful pullback right into our demand. So if we look at the charts the way we like to look at the charts, we can simply say that off the open, we had a drop, we had a base, we had a rally to the upside. Okay, so this base makes demand, intraday demand. We come back, we retest intraday demand before what? Our next rally, base rally to the upside, right? Now, this is just simply how price moves, and we know that. We know we can't buy in front of these zones and just YOLO buy in front of these zones, but when price action is lining up with our zones and telling us a big picture story, because we are market lawyers, we execute on the opportunity, right? We take advantage of the opportunity. Even if we go back on the 15-minute chart here and we look at price action within this area, higher lows, higher lows, higher low, right? So that's buyers building pressure into this area for us to get a trade off, which is really, really, really nice. Let's go back through some of the days from last week just to see. Oh, by the way, if you guys have any questions in the webinar chat, fire away. Fire away. Really nice trap trade here. This was a tough one. This was on FOMC day, so I wasn't getting in front of this thing because I mean the range of the price volatility was insane. But if we just go back and think about this from a technical standpoint, you know what's happening here really. We have a supply zone that was rejected by sellers once, and then FOMC launches. We trap above previous high of day inside of supply, and we sell off, and we get this amazing move to the downside. Is this a missed opportunity? For me, no. When the price volatility opens up like that and it's just a complete free-for-all, no. It's just not for me. But some people might take these types of trades. And there was a trade set up there. Again, I just say, you know, it wasn't for me. Check out the 5-minute. We'll go back to, yeah, that's the FOMC day. So let's look at this even on a 5-minute here. So we've got 5-minute. We mark our high here. We mark high of day. And see, we can't even close the candle here over high of day. We actually get that 5-minute inverted hammer candle short. This looks easy now, but I was watching this play out while I was sitting on my hands. And this price action was just whipping. Like it was flying so fast. The time and sales was flying so fast that I just chose the no thank you approach on that one, which I was totally fine with. Totally fine with. Anyone have any trades on the market from this week that they want to quickly discuss here? Some really nice holds here in the market. Really, all we want to do, guys, going into the week, to keep it simple and not ramble on, is watch this range. If we break this range to the upside, look for holds inside supply. Break the range to the upside, look for a hold so we know buyers are stepping up so we can push price up. Or if we get a nice pullback, we look for buyers to step up and continue to push these higher lows to put pressure on the sellers here. This door is getting weak for the sellers. We're looking for that pressure to the upside. And then, of course, we have our next zone up here at 4467. And then we get into this clean trading area as long as this 2-hour level can go away. But I do think it's going to, you know, it's going to lay a bit of a beating here. Okay, that's all I got, guys. If you have any questions, let me know in the chat room, and I'll definitely get them answered up. I recorded this guy here, so I'll throw it up on the site for sure, or YouTube or something if you guys want to go back and look at it. And I think that's it.